Hello and welcome to Not One Right Way, the podcast. It's me, your co-host, Melissa, she, her, and
It's me, Marv Metawaking Yaga, they, them, theirs.
Marv, guess what?
Chicken butt.
Yes. But also, this is our 1-year anniversary episode. We've been doing this for a year.
OMG.
Happy podcast birthday.
Happy podcast birthday. That's crazy. I didn't even consider that. Thank you for the reminder. That's so pleasant.
I know. Like, what a fun year it's been. We've talked to so many cool people.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just very, makes my heart happy.
Yeah. I've expanded my LinkedIn network. A lot of people that are not social workers or affiliated with one of the universities I've worked at. So that's interesting.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, it's super fun. And also, do you want to share with the listeners your good news?
Yes. Recently received an offer letter for a job, and I will be
Yay!
moving out to LA soon. And by soon, I mean I'm started packing, and when Melissa said, "Are you ready to join me in 30 minutes?" I was like, "Shit, I have to hide the boxes." Not that our listeners can see the
boxes.
unfolding
But they feel them
chaos.
in the space.
They might feel them in the space, it's true. There's a presence, energetic presence that I've felt packing, getting ready for this big move.
Yeah, congratulations. I'm so happy. Personally, this is great for me and my well-being because now you live in the same town as me. So I'm very proud of you. You worked really hard to apply to jobs and you got the one you deserved. So
Thank you.
congrats. Feel free to comment below, listeners. Good job, Marv. Congrats, Marv. Just talk about how great Marv is.
Yes.
You
You can even say, Marv, I already knew you were super employable, but now we have the evidence. And I'd really appreciate that.
Definitely. Have you watched anything good lately, or are you too busy packing?
I've been really into the train wreck documentary series on Netflix. I recently finished watching one called PI Moms. That one was wild, start to finish. And it made me appreciate our past and future who do production. I don't think we've ever met somebody who works on reality television, because that's what this show PI Moms was. But just like the gut-wrenching feeling that this thing you've worked so hard on to produce and film and try and get live on the air is just like completely tanked by something unrelated.
I think that translates to any medium. It's hard to make a thing.
Yeah, it's hard to make a thing.
That's great. I watched all of The Bear yesterday, so season 4, just caught up, and I'm very emotional. But I love that show. I love the way it shoots food. They understand the love of food. And I know you could kind of translate his obsession with cooking to Whiplash and the guy who plays the drums, or Black Swan, ballerina. So it's that same idea of the obsessed artist, but also my favorite thing right now are platonic relationships. So that relationship between Sydney and Carmi is my absolute favorite. Professional, artistic, platonic love. You need each other because you're I don't know. I love when people explore that. So good season.
Awesome.
Well, this is my segue into, because I don't have a good segue today, but my segue into our amazing guest today. What an honor. Perfect guest for our 1-year anniversary. Their name is Allissoon Lockhart, and they're an animation producer. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. Also, great shows that you guys are watching. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Have you seen PI Moms?
I haven't seen the PI Moms, but we just did the Woodstock 99, and as even wearing a corn shirt right now, which the viewers can't see, but that 3-day event, I wasn't there. I'm not that old, but I feel like if I had been there, I would have had the best time, but also maybe not be with us anymore because I was having such a good time. But yeah, I love watching that back to back, which was how are concerts like that? So I need to watch PI Moms now. We need to do that. And then we saw, my partner and I saw on their Poop Cruise, which has a great title too. So Lots of train wrecks.
Yeah, lots of train wrecks. Yeah, I watched the Woodstock 99 last weekend when I was flying to LA to visit
Oh,
Melissa.
no.
And it was just like I have this idealized image of Woodstock 69 that,
Right.
watching that one was just like, "Holy shit." This is like if you tried to recreate something, but then were so profit motivated that you forgot that, like, people should enjoy,
Yeah.
um, a concert.
I love that it's like they were like, if it was like, like the Powerpuff Girls professor in the beginning, they were like, let's take all the elements of Woodstock 69 and then, put in like these very chaotic new metal bands and just mud and see what happens.
Yeah,
Sounds like a recipe for success, for sure,
Yeah.
for sure, for sure.
yeah.
Well, Marv, would you like to kick us off with our hard-hitting question?
Yes. Allissoon, I briefly mentioned this before, I am a social worker. So, usually when I'm meeting somebody, it's like right off the bat, let's dive deep into it, you know? What's your background? Let's start at the beginning and work our way forward, hitting all the trauma on the way down. My question for you today is what weather would describe how you're feeling right now?
Ooh, wow.
So
Once
much
again, no,
setup.
I'm a very, like, animated person, and it's not because I work in animation, but the second you were like, "Let's do the trauma all the way down," I was like, "Oh, no. What have I gotten myself into? What
No.
do I hold in? What do I say?" Ooh, what weather? Aside from how hot I feel right now from the weather in Stockholm, I don't know, I'm very, like a crisp spring day. There's a lot of the word that came into my mind was wind, and,
Mm,
not to get, well, we wanted to get into it. That's what you just said. Like, yeah, like wind. There's a wind of change. There's a wind of like possibilities. And like, I'm a very motivated person. I work on a lot of projects, whether it's at my current gig, honestly, a lot more outside of my current gig. So yeah, I like having a wind of change, a wind of prospers. That's usually kind of how I feel.
oh, yeah. I'm feeling the exact same way. Like,
Yeah, it was
uh,
open. Yeah.
yeah. And also, like, the air is very stagnant here. And I'm just like wishing for a wind to just like, I don't know, release my inhibitions, feel the rain on my skin.
I'll
Um,
have you know, as much as I just mentioned in the first minute Limp Bizkit and Korn, that is my favorite song. Even as a metalhead, I think that is one of the best written songs, like, ever.
yeah.
It's perfect. It
Oh,
hits whenever,
Natasha.
no matter the mood. Like, you can be sad, it's good. You're in a good mood, it's good. Like, it just settles
Yeah.
It's
in your
perfect.
soul.
Melissa,
Well,
your weather for the day?
I don't know. I keep all my curtains closed because I wanna live in darkness, so I was feeling very cloudy as soon as you said that. I'm like, I'm feeling cloudy. I don't wanna see the sun. The sun, too hot, too bright. I just wanna, like, nice cloudy fall day.
Yeah.
Hmm, I love that.
That way I can stare at all my screens better, no glare.
Yeah, that's where I thought this was going.
Yeah. Need to have at least 3 screens in front of me, or I'm gonna have a thought, and I can't have that. No thoughts.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Allissoon, I have a question for you. What is your favorite instrument to play? Because you play a lot of instruments.
I do. I think I'm gonna answer with 2 because I'm kind of from, like, a divided world where, like, I grew up as a very cool person in the marching band, and then I also have this, like, passion for, like, rock and roll and metal, as you can see, so, like, I think drums is probably still gonna be number 1. I'm a self-taught drummer. I started, like, way into my adulthood, and I was I'm a she, her female, like, I don't know, there's just something about hitting the drums, like, not that there haven't been amazing drummer, Meg White and so many others. There's this female drummer, and I always forget her name, even though she literally is my favorite, so everybody can, be mad at me in the comments, but there's this Japanese band called Maximum the Hormone, and they have the coolest female drummer. So there's always been, like, past, present, future, like but there's just something about, like, the way the patriarchal society is that when you, like, as a female identifying person sit behind the kit and can just hit stuff, it like that first time just like unlocked something in my brain. So like I will always be so thankful for the drums. Like it just makes you feel strong and confident and like you have control and like I will never I will play the drums forever. And then on that nerdy side, the second part of it, like I grew up playing the saxophone, so I will always love playing the saxophone. I can't do the like I'm not it's like you had mentioned whiplash a second ago. I also don't jazz drum, by the way. It's only like rock stuff, but like even when it comes to saxophone, like I wouldn't be able to like, like in movies when they're like they walk up on stage and they're like, "Hit me with the in the key of A." We'll just like no. Like I need to have sheet music in front of me,
You're
but
not doing improvised jazz.
yeah, no, no, no. But I genuinely do love playing the saxophone. It's really fun.
I love a saxophone. Like, whenever I see a saxophone live, it's the most exciting moment. I love it. It's such a beautiful sound. Makes me
It's
feel
so
alive.
and now I'm glad you asked that because like the past few weeks, like I've just been like, because I try to be nice to my apartment people, and I would never play a saxophone. And I have an electronic drum set, and even that still you can kind of hear like it's obviously not like an acoustic kit, but you can still hear
Uh-huh.
like you hitting the plastic with the sticks, and obviously you still have to like kick, so it's still like not apartment friendly. I need to go to the like a space or something like a lockout. I guess that's what because I
Mhm.
live in LA. I guess that's what we call it here, but I mean, Sweden's a huge music place, so, like, they have tons of them, but I just wanna play the sax. I would never do that. Apartment people, never do that in here, so I need to let loose somewhere, so
I
I
wish
need
my neighbors played the sax. That'd be amazing. There was somebody just went in my bathroom. I think they've moved since, but you would go into my bathroom and you'd hear someone practicing piano, like really beautiful, and I would just sit and listen because it was just so lovely. I was like, "Thank you for playing the piano, whoever you are." But
Oh,
so if someone started practicing saxophone, I wouldn't be complaining personally, but
Yeah, you'd
to
be in
each
the
his
bathroom
own.
all the time. You'd be like, "I
Yeah,
gotta get in there."
private concert.
yeah,
Love that.
yeah. I was brought back to my memories of listening to my sister practice clarinet when she was 12, which is, I'm sure, a different experience than what Melissa's describing. Um, like, the woodwind with the crackle and, like, the squeaking
A little
and
squeak, yeah.
yeah, it's a lot.
You're just hearing
That
hot
is
cross buns every
Yeah,
day. It's
like, yeah,
yeah.
way to roast your sister on air. That's
you
good.
know, Zochi, I'm so glad you stopped playing the clarinet.
Oh, no, I was about to ask if this was a good moment, and she still has it or continues it.
No, it's actually up here in my parents' guest bedroom, just forgotten, covered in dust.
Dang.
You
RIP
know, sad.
their music career. Well, thank you for sharing. Now we're gonna move on to the section where you give us a little background about yourself. We'd love to know more about you, and you're such an amazing producer, but did young Allissoon always know production and animation was your dream?
Yeah, that's a great question. Honestly, it's kind of great that you started with the music thing because growing up, so I'm from Seattle. That's where I'm originally from. So grunge capital, all that kind of fun stuff. But growing up, I wanted to do orchestra music, like
Mm.
saxophone, flute, clarinet. So I actually played the clarinet too, and so I went through that squeaky phase. We all do. um, I really love doing that, and that's what I wanted to do, and obviously, like, everything's all good now, I like my career, but, my parents weren't really that supportive, which in hindsight is so funny. I did a college talk in Australia, and I got to tell this, like, it's so funny because I wasn't trying to, like I wasn't going to my mom and dad, I'm like, "I wanna play the guitar, I wanna be the next Ozzy Osbourne." It was just like,
Yeah.
"I wanna play the flute, like, I wanna be in the band," and for some reason, they just, like, weren't about that
Mhm.
and whatnot, and that's why I can laugh now as an adult of, like, that's so strange. So I was, like, really mindset on that, and I still loved cartoons, like, I have the memories that I'm sure everybody else does of, like I have an older brother of 4 years, so, like, we would always run home from school and catch the end of Sailor Moon, which was always a bummer because I always wanted to see the full episode, but then Pokémon would come on, and that was, as you once again, nobody can see me, but I have, like, Pokémon tattoo, like, tons of
Yeah.
Pokémon. We bonded over that, and then Dragon Ball Z was afterwards, which Steven kind of cared a little bit more about, but, like, We loved Cartoon Network, we loved Nickelodeon, we had all the Disney VHSs, so I definitely loved film and video games and stuff like that, but music is really what I wanted to do. So when I kinda got into high school, and for where I was, kids are starting to apply to college and stuff like that, wanting to go to music, parents were even kinda supportive of it. So, like, in 1 year, I was like, and I was one of those, like, emo-y, because I was in that era, emo-y, angsty teenagers where I was like,
Mhm.
"I don't wanna be in Seattle anymore. Seattle sucks." Hindsight, Seattle's absolutely gorgeous, and it's a beautiful place, and you should go there. But when I was, like, 16, 17, I was like, "I gotta get out of here, blah, blah, blah." So in 1 year, I was, like, trying to find something else to apply to at these colleges because I knew I was always, like, an art or a music-y person, like, tech was not really what I had no programming or anything like that, not good at math, like, in, like, the principal or science sense and stuff like that, so I just started to apply to film schools, and I was really nervous because I had spent all those years like, I know how to play the French horn, I know how to play the bassoon, like, I built out my caliber of instruments, but then I was like, "I'm applying to all these film schools with the kids that when I was playing instruments, were running around with camcorders, right? And doing their hobby, wanting
Mhm.
to do a thing. So I felt really on the back foot, like,
Mhm.
man. And I was applying to also like game schools too, just because once again, I really like video games. And I was like, well, I want to do that. I want to make that. But I was like, oh man, I'm up against kids that have been making little flash games or,
Yeah.
Newgrounds or all the old internet stuff. So I did my best. I applied and somehow I got rejected from a bunch of schools, but somehow, USC, which is where I did very thankful got to go, somebody sent an appeal in for me, and I to this
Oh,
day, I have no idea who it was. I think the only information I got that it was internal. So, I mean, logically, it could have just been they said no to too many people, and then other people chose other schools, and then they needed to I don't know. That's the most logical conclusion I've ever come to. But it was still magical to me, so I got to go. I got to move
Yeah.
to LA, did game design, didn't really I didn't wanna code, but that kinda to get to, like, the root of your question, like, what I was discovering, especially on team projects, and thank goodness there were more team projects than non-team. One time we had to make a pinball game on the computer by
oh,
ourselves, failed. Completely was like but mine looked best, and that was really the champion thing. But
Oh,
when we
yeah.
projects, that's when I started to without a word, there wasn't a word for production, there wasn't a word for the only time I encountered producers, watching a TV show and you see, like, the 8,000,000 names that come up at the beginning. So when I got to college and I started to realize, like, "Oh, I kinda like helping people know what they need to be doing," and not in, like, a, like, bossing people around way, but, like, there was a merit to that, and there was a, like, reminding people of, like, "Hey, guys, we need to meet today because this is due on Friday, and I think Sally needs this thing." So it was kind of, like, organic, but no teacher was really like, "Hey, this is what a project management is," or something like that. So I started to sneak into the animation courses though, because once again, I still, like, love the Disney, love the anime, stuff like that. I couldn't switch it to the proper, like that's just a college thing of like, "Well, if you wanna do the animation track, you'll have to go all the way back down to freshman," and I was like, "Nobody's got the money for that, so
no.
we're just gonna learn organically." Sorry, Marv, were you gonna say something or
No, just like, yeah, so true.
Yeah, I was like
Starting again is awful.
So I was still taking the classes and this is kinda like the other part of producing or, production that, like, once again, I feel like colleges do tell you more about this, but I was kind of organically networking because I was meeting kids in the classes, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm over at the game school. Don't really know what I'm doing over there, but I really like these, like, intro to film, writing, animation, and stuff like that." But then, like, how it kind of, like, organically happened is I'm a very, like in reason, say yes to everything kind of a person. I'm a bit of that if anybody's ever seen that Yes Man Jim Carrey movie, I kinda lived that a lot where I was just like, if somebody needed help on their student film, like from the actual film school or if somebody needed someone for a sport team on a Sunday, like, I usually say yes if I can. Sometimes I bite off more than I can chew, but I learned a lot about film and different positions, and that's really being on, like, student films and saying yes to stuff, I was like, "Oh, there are people that don't, hold the camera, that don't just code the game, that don't just, storyboard. There are other positions. And yeah, that was kind of the beginning of understanding production. And then my first gig, and I'll leave it there for the next question, was because I had said yes to so many things. And for anybody listening, I'm always really transparent. I was in LA, just like Melissa, and now Marv will be. So I was in LA, which of course has opportunities. Other big cities do too. I'm not dismeriting that at all. I just want to check my privilege that I was in LA. I was around. I'm not my parents are not celebrities or anything like that, but being at USC, I am kind of around a lot of different people from a lot of different backgrounds. But anyways, all that caveat that I did want to say aside, I did have a friend, just a friend, normal friend who was in the film school, and found out that I spoke Japanese. I'm not fluent, but I did take it in high school and college. And this is once again like get all the skills you can because you have no idea where you're going to use them. Like and they're like, "Do you speak Japanese? We need like a Japanese like little like PA on set for like a week or two. Do you want to do it?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll do that." I show up. I'm driving in my beat up Honda Accord that's filled to the brim with like Monster Energy cans and water bottles.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I start pulling up and I start seeing like big trucks. I was expecting to go to once again like somebody's like house where we're all ragtagging it and holding microphones.
Mhm.
I start seeing big trucks and I start seeing like a lot of people and then like I have to stop to get a parking pass. I was getting like kind of in my stupid little car. It ended up being Interstellar. Um,
Wow.
that was my first gig, which is crazy. Yeah. But I just held things and spoke broken Japanese to people, so
That's awesome.
I
Marv, you
wasn't
look
doing
shook
crazy.
into your core.
I was shaken to my core. Like, I don't know what I was expecting. I was like, "Oh, maybe it was, like, an animation thing. Maybe they needed somebody who just spoke Japanese or working with a contractor or something," but, like, Interstellar?
Yeah, it's crazy, I know. And once again, I wasn't there for, like, the whole thing. I remember the after we wrapped for the day, I, like, emailed all my teachers, and I was like, "Oh my god, I will do all the homework. I will do whatever you want me to, like, it's just 2 weeks, like, I really wanna do this," and, like, once again, like, they were all so chill. I mean, I told them what it was. I wasn't just like, "It's this thing that I wanna do." It was like, "You don't understand," and they were like, "We
Yeah.
actually do." Yeah, I got to do that, and from there, I met somebody on the set, like, because I was clearly, like, the youngest person there. So, like, when we're all eating, like, dinner at, like, the weirdest time, it was, like, a night shoot, so it was, like, crazy, but, somebody just asked me, and, I was, like, a young like, I think I was, like, my 2nd year into college or something like that. So I'm, like, peppy, and I'm, like, and he's, like, "So what do you wanna do? Like, do you wanna do, like, live action or something like that?" And because of, like me and my brother watching a bunch of cartoons and stuff, like I love stop motion. So I actually answered him. I was like, "Oh man, like I'd actually love to work in stop motion animation. Like I love Robot Chicken." And I said that to him, and this is once again why you should always just say what you actually feel. He was like, "Oh my gosh, I just finished working there a couple months ago. If you give me your email, no promises, like, I can try and see if, like, they need, like, extra hands, and, of course, like, anime shimmery eyes, like, "Oh my god." And I said gave it to him, and I was like but had I went home and I was like, "I'm not gonna hear it." Like, that was so nice of him. That was so nice of him. I can't get can't get my expectations up. Also, he never gave me his email, so it's like, whatever, like, good 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 to put it out there into the universe. Maybe it'll happen one day. It took months and months and months, but not in a bad way, but just, like, I wasn't waiting on it, I wasn't expecting it, and then, yeah, he did get in contact with them, and then I got to help out at the Robot Chicken studio, so crazy. Anyways, I've been
Yeah.
blathering. That's how it happened.
Amazed at your sort of, like, tenacity in doing these things. Just like, "Yeah, I'll do it." Yeah. Like, I don't know what the opportunity is. I don't know what exactly is coming my way, but I'll PA. Huh. Um, what of those, I think you brought into your work at Chicken?
Yeah, I mean, 'cause I went there as a PA at the first place, because like they did a merger, and don't know the history of it, so I'm absolutely not going to go into that. But I was at Shadow Machine, and I was on a feature film first, and all the stop motion community in LA, which is kind of the stop motion community in Oregon, where Laika and some of the Netflix and what was the Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. So a lot of my friends that I still have to this day work in stop motion, and bless their hearts, they kind of move not too frequently, not like month to month, God forbid, but like you do kind of with that community kind of got to follow the work. But yeah, so I was on a film, and all those people worked at Robot, and one of the shows we were on, which nobody has seen, and that's totally fine, was called Super Mansion. So those
Student
two shows.
studies?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, okay. Well, you were the first person to, or both the first people that know what that show was. It was fun. I thought it was cute. It was fun. So I went over that and then on Super Mansion and Robot Chick. But no, I mean, to answer your question, like whether it's like live action, stop motion's kind of the fun, breeding ground of there's live action-esque moments, and then but animation, of course. It's just like, and I still have mindsets to this day. It's like always being able to help out in every department. I love that I know what each person does. Like I don't need to know how to animate. I don't need to know how to draw a character or do a storyboard, but to have the knowledge of like, this is what this person needs to do their job, and this is like how I can help them. Like I've always had that mindset and learned it from being a PA, always willing to jump in. Like even right now, it's like if I see, as a line producer, as a producer up here, if I see a department needing help or a coordinator needing help or anybody has a question, like I'm never chagrined, like, oh yeah, let me jump down and help you do that. And that's been a lot of the fun of being at like an indie studio like Glitch and stuff like that. So like anything that I've learned as a PA, or just as I mentioned too, like I'm a big believer in like a utility belt, kind of like Batman style, where like you'll learn. Did I ever think me taking Japanese in high school in Seattle, Washington would ever allow me to be on a film set in LA? Absolutely not. But it's just like, that's kind of cool if you develop these skills that maybe there's a time that you get to raise your hand in the group of people and be like, hey, wait, I actually can help with this. Like my dad and I used to do this, or actually, I took a class once with my brother. I'm just making up examples, but like I think that's kind of cool about being in production. It's like it's it's almost a positive to have a round table of skills rather than just be like, I've only done budgeting. Budgeting is the only thing I know how to do, and I'm like the best at it. It's like that's cool, but like knowing more things I think opens more doors.
Yeah. What'd you say I resonate with, because that's what I love about production, is being able to learn about every department and meeting the department heads. And I'm a people producer is what I say. So as long as I can connect with the people, I know I can help and like, support everyone as much as I can, because they're going to trust me with their knowledge and be honest. And so I just love that part of the work of like really connecting and doing the work together.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I'm gonna use that, people producer. I like that. In the sense, I totally get the sense.
Yeah.
Now that I say it out loud, I'm like, we're not making people, but yeah, like
No.
be there for everyone. No, I really like that, because that is the thing. Is like I always say, like production is an art, because I definitely still believe that. Not I haven't met somebody who would refute that, but like I do believe it's an art, and it's art of communication and
Mhm.
relationships and people.
Definitely.
Nice.
Which is a good segue into your classes. When I first saw you put them up, the How to Animation Production, I was really grateful, because I was like, finally, someone is teaching this career that I feel like it's forgotten. Like you just have to learn it by proximity. Like if you were in theater, that's a really good transferable skill. But actually learning the ins and out is so hard to do unless you're actively working. So how did you go about starting the class, and what's it been like?
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad that you mentioned it. Yeah. I mean, it's been a joy, 'cause I've done like 2 rounds of them, and honestly, like every time that I'm like sitting, like I learn stuff all the time too, every day, and that's like the beauty of like,
Mhm.
like having that mindset, but also like, like I have goals that I still want to achieve and stuff like that. So like, but sometimes when I look back at the classes, I'm like, man, I want to do like a 2.0 of that, just so I can like further tell people stuff that I've learned and keep the knowledge going. But in a cheeky way, and I'll be very honest with you, I mean, I have always had that thought that you just said of like nobody really does, because when I told you in my little like backstory lore cutscene or whatever that just was, where I rambled for 5 minutes, like I didn't have that. I didn't have a teacher be like, "Hey guys, there's coordinators that are in all these departments and stuff like that." No, 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 no. But I've always like it'd be cool to teach somebody I've learned at these studios like Stupid Buddies, or I went to Crunchyroll and Bento and Netflix and all these other places. But the answer is I got really bored of being in LA, and by bored, I mean, and this is not to scare Marv, LA is expensive, which I'm sure you're very aware of, but it was like it was getting expensive. This was like 2021, so the pandemic was like absolutely still going. I'd been there for 10 years, and I always had wanted to go to Europe, so, like, there was kind of this, like I wrapped on a gig. Pandemic still super, super going. I don't have relatives in LA. I don't have any children at that point. I still don't, like it kind of was like I think this is the moment if I'm gonna do it. And especially because like that was about the time that I think the one of the Warner Brothers mergers happened. It was like I think it might have Discovery one or the Warner
Mhm.
the Warner HBO one, because that one happened later. But the reason why I'm bringing that up is because little did we know the jobs were gonna get, smaller and more minute. So I kinda got out, and I obviously had no idea no way to predict that, but I kinda left at the time where, maybe it would have been longer for me to have gotten a job, and my heart once again goes out to anybody right now from that year or the current year or last year is still I know
Same
people,
here.
yeah, that are still looking for gigs, and it's heartbreaking. So I did the classes, sorry, roundabout back into it, to get money to go to England. Like, that was the sole incentive, was like
Got it.
yeah, it was like, how
That's
do I
smart.
yeah, it was like, 'cause I have 2 cats that I had to move all my stuff. The company I did go to definitely helped, which was very, very nice of them. So I got over there, and then, it also helped me move to Sweden. So the classes kind of means to move twice, and international moves are just a whole different level of chaos and visa and money that nobody has. But I'm proud of myself for not only it, like I did have the incentive of wanting to tell people about production. And it was like there are people from the first round of live classes that like I now know, and I feel really close to them. And seeing them get jobs and gigs, and meeting people over like I had a student from Finland, and I was in the UK. I was like, "Wow, this is crazy." I had a student, lots of US based people, but we had people in South America and people in Australia. So it was really cool, and honestly, like I learned a lot through it of like, oh, this is important. So then when we did the advanced classes, so I could go to Sweden, it was just kind of like, wow, this is great. We'll just every time I need to move to a different country, you'll see a new I'm kidding. Well, who knows? But, like and then everybody listening to this will be like, "Ah, she's moving. Where's she going?"
Where's
But
she off to?
yeah, it's been
That's
really
awesome.
rewarding, so
Yeah, they're, like, on my list because I was sign up the first time, but I was gonna have, like, work pay for it because I was like, "Look, this is relevant," and then I got laid off, but
oh, no.
yeah, it's the post 2021 down spiral.
And I'm so aware that it's, like, still and being, like, out of the States too, it's been so. And I don't word lightly, but, like, educational, of course, like, it's horrible, but, like, it affects like, the dominoes affect a lot of things, like, these studios in, like, Ireland, Canada that get the shipment of if you're in
Mhm.
2D, well, 3D they ship too, but, like, sister studios, co-production studios, like, it's not just LA that is hurting, it's like, well, if the LA people, the show gets cut, the show gets not renewed, whatever have you, like all the other studios that sound post-production studios that work for those shows also don't get the work. So it's really sucks.
Definitely. Speaking of shows that were ended, you worked on Central Park, which I don't know many people who watch that show, but I loved that show. What was
Oh,
it
yeah.
like working on a musical-led show for someone who loved music?
So fun. Oh my gosh. Cause like so my cats are named after the Metalocalypse guitarist. So I love any type of show that has music. So like obviously like Metalocalypse is like so great, so fun. It's rock and roll and metal, but musical. Once again, I've already admitted in this podcast that I was in the marching band. So I'm not like nobody should ever take away that I'm some this like grizzled cool metalhead and I'm like, name 5 songs. Absolutely not. Like, I love musicals, I love pop music, I love everything like that. So it was really, really, really fun, and that was my first show at Bento. I did get to, because Bento at that time, and I still believe they do this, they try to keep people, so they switch them to, like, Lauren Bouchard, who is the creator of Bob's and Central Park and The Great North. So he has a couple shows, and then there's, shows at, I see other studio just because they have multiple offices. So the other office held a lot more of like Housebroken and some of the other
Mm.
bento shows. But no, like they did a really good job of passing people around. But no, Sun Park was where I like got in, stayed for a couple seasons, and that was crazy because I started in 2019 there, and I was just at Crunchyroll, and they're in the same like, business park? I don't know what you call it,
Oh,
camp like,
interesting.
Disney TV was there too, and then, so you'd always in the
Mhm.
little, like, cafeteria thing, you'd see people like, "Wow." But so when I went to Bento and it was all, like, good, a couple people did, it was so weird to see, "I just started at this new job in the other building, but I still see you at the lunch table." It was like being in, like, high school and, like, "Oh, I'm in the different class now, but you're still here."
That's
But no,
cute.
Bento was so fun, and then the pandemic happened, so I was there 2019, 2020 as everybody, listening kind of experience, went in, grabbed my computer, and they were like, "We'll see you in 2 weeks," and it was like, "Okay." Um,
Sure.
with, like so Josh Gad was the co-creator.
Narrator? Oh, he was a co-creator.
He would come in and, like, he was, like I hate misspeaking, he was either the co-creator or, like, an executive producer, but he was, like, heavily involved in it. So, what I was trying to get to is really fun is, like, all the people on the show, as I'm sure you know, Melissa, amazing, bro, like, there's Hamilton people,
Ours.
all that kinda Kristen Bell, like, all like which, of course, makes sense now that Dad was involved, so Kristen came along and, like, all these people, but I remember my funniest thing was, like, our audio coordinator, or music coordinator, she is a dim now, so apologize if you're listening, Jellica, but her department, they had to mail microphones out to these, Broadway people
Mhm.
'cause, like, they're theater people, and unless you're, like, really doing VO, like, that's your, like, normal
Mhm.
profession, you're not gonna have a booth randomly in your house ready for or, if that is your thing, you might have a booth, but some of these Broadway people that wasn't the vibe, so we were having them record, like, these amazing songs, like, in their, like
Amazing.
just like other people, like, in the doing shows in the pandemic, but it's just so weird thinking about these, like, superstar Hamilton, like, selling out every show in New York, just in their closet trying to, like, do songs.
Leslie Odom Jr. with his little mic belting.
It was so fun, and I think what I loved about that is, for anybody listening who wants to do music-based content, the production is a little bit not necessarily different, but I'll throw out a fun fact for everybody. So the music that you hear in the background, like the score, that's what we call like music that the character isn't producing or it's just in the background. That happens in post production because we want the whole timing of the episode. People might make the animations longer or shorter or do all the editing that they want, but we don't want to give the composer anything before that's locked because anytime you change it, because music is pretty mathematical, there's beats and stuff like that, you're gonna have to make him redo stuff, and with music especially, it's not like you can just be like, "Oh, we lengthened this shot, let's lengthen this note." That's just not how it works, and you'll make the composer cry if you keep making timing changes like that.
Yeah.
So that happens at the end, which is usually a shocker to people, like, totally at the end is when composers get to have their heyday. When it comes to musical stuff, so something that a storyboard artist needs to know, like, is there a fun, like, stop beat or is there a fun, like, instrument change because now the character's dancing instead of,
Mhm.
like, wishfully looking up into the sky. I'm just making up random examples. you have to have that track ahead of time. So Central Park was my first time kind of learning, like, oh, we don't need the music for the episode, like all the behind the episode music. But if the dad jumps out into a musical number, oh yeah, the opening song, right? You have the narrator going nuts, everybody kind of gets their little moment. The storyboard artist needs to know the song, needs to know, like, does this character jump in? When do they not? So we need to know the timing. And if we can't get the people in time to sing, though, usually somebody will scratch record it. And the people at Bento Box are so musically talented that, like, sometimes the composer will sing it. So you'll have, like, the composer singing the track and stuff. And later they'll fill in Leslie Odom Jr. or something like that. But yeah, like that was just a fun fact is for song people are singing music video moments that I kind of like to call, or that's what we call them on Central Park. You have to have the track ahead of time.
Yeah. Doing music videos for Mattel. We got the song, but sometimes they would change it and be like, we really need the final song. Because if you change it, it changes the whole pacing of the choreo and stuff. So it is really interesting the way music folds into a show.
Absolutely. And I love that it's being kept alive too, because like things like I know Has Been Hotel and Hello Boss have their musical moments and stuff. And musical, like, you know, not just like band or stuff like that, but like, yeah, it's so cool to see animation and music just like fused together like that. And scores are great too, like the background accompanying.
That's so fun. Well, thank you for sharing your time at Bento Box. The special shows in my heart. So it's cool to meet someone who contributed.
I love that you know what Central Park is because I really enjoyed that show. That show was great.
It was. I think it was special. Like, something about Lauren Bush shows are so good at making these like really healthy family dynamics. Like these families who really love each other. Like across all those shows, like Great North, Bob's Burgers, and Central Park, it's like about this family who really cares about each other. And then there's music, and that really appeals to me. I love to watch.
He is a very musically driven person. Like, and that is like honestly like one of the, and I know we keep rounding back to music because like it's important to all of us and a lot of people, but like he is so musically driven and actually has a fun, heartwarming moment. As I told you, and I grew up, I really wanted to do music. I wanted to do orchestra. I really wanted to do like film and movie music. And at Bento Box, I got to play bassoon on one of the tracks in the show for Central Park. And that was like I was like a grown woman, but like there was like a little like 11-year-old me that was like, take that, parents. Like,
hate it.
So, and that person I had mentioned, Angelica, who I don't know her title now, and we actually used to be in at the Bento Box office. She found out that I played the drums, but she's done music for the show now and sang on the show. So like Lauren is so musically driven and finds people, and you know, of course, we have the crazy awesome Broadway stars and guest composers and stuff like that. So no, that was a gift to work on that show and be around somebody like that.
That's awesome.
I'm so glad you got to play bassoon. Like, you had that moment where somebody was like, does anybody know how to play bassoon? And you were like, it's my time to shine.
I was like, I'm here. That's actually why my name is this way, is because when I was in like elementary school, middle school, because every year I wanted to learn a new instrument, I played bassoon. And fun fact, not many kids want to play the bassoon because not only is it the one reed, right, that your sister were squeaking on, bassoon is two reeds together, double the squeak, double the fun.
Double the squeak, double the fun.
But that one I kind of kept playing because once again nobody played it. My band teacher was like, "Well, you're stuck with this now." So, and I really enjoyed the bassoon. So he would call me Allissoon, and then other teachers kind of would. So it was like a childhood nickname. And then I'm just one of these people, if you can't tell by looking at me, that's like, life's short, let's have fun. So yeah, Allissoon comes from playing the bassoon. I don't have so expensive, like, and I could go on a whole tangent about how musical instruments for kids should be way more affordable, especially the bigger and like not bigger one, but like, you know, like no kid is asking their parents, like, can you buy me a harp, you know, or a tuba? They're just like, you know, people intro into trumpet and flute and clarinet because they're cheaper to get a rental or stuff like that. But yeah, I'll stop. It should be more accessible.
Yeah. And
Agree.
also, this is just my hot take for the episode. I feel like starting with the recorder in the US American public school system is the wrong step unless we're trying to like actively teach students more instruments. Cause then you're just stuck with recorders. And like, I'm sorry, but a 9-year-old on a recorder isn't the best sound, especially the plastic mass produced ones. Like, they're not meant to be amazing. But, like, the idea that it's meant to teach you skills around, like, perception and hand-eye coordination and understanding musicality is only helpful if you're going to teach other instruments.
I love this hot take, and I couldn't agree more. Although I was a kid who was very excited about the recorder,
Yeah.
but that's the thing, but I probably already had that, like, niche in my brain, whereas, yeah, like, if you don't have that and you're handed a plastic recorder and you're especially, like, I also, like sorry, we could talk all podcasts about this, but I think when you're also, like, at that age told to do something, you don't really know what this is, you don't see the bigger picture, it's an automatic, like, it's like, "Well, I don't like this," like, that's not setting you up for success.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Sounds like
not good at the recorder, so did not
Yeah.
continue my music career. Yeah, I don't know. It's the same problem with driving where, like, I get twisted up and, like, I don't know, like, those are thinking skills required to, like, get really good at an instrument hurt me. Like, I can't do multiple things with my hands. I don't know. It's like why I'm bad at parking. My
okay.
brain can't compute which way to turn the wheel because I don't know. It feels like the same part of my brain, and I just can't grasp it.
I was, for the viewers, very concerned because the jump from "I'm not good at recorder," which is totally fair, to driving was really extreme. Like
It's how it feels for me. It's like the same part of my brain where I can't figure out which way to turn the wheel when I'm going backward. It's the same reason I couldn't get my fingers to put on the same spot. I don't know.
should we get you a recorder to train up
Mm,
your drum skills?
maybe that will help.
Maybe. Yeah. Do you
I'm
not
sure my
drive?
neighbors would love it. I do have a license and I can drive sometimes, but I avoid.
Well, it's also LA, so it's, like, good
Yeah,
for you, but
I take the metro when I can, which is
save the
good.
environment.
Yeah. Well, I want to make sure we save some time to talk about your independent projects because
Mhm.
you are doing professional work with Glitch and Blick, I want to say is the name. And then you have all these shows that you've pitched and like been a showrunner for. And I'm so interested in like how you balance that and what of you to want to make so many cool little shows.
Yeah. Oh, how do I balance that as I, like, have 3 cups of caffeine-related things over here and sleep at all? Yeah, I think I've always had the drive to create, and whether that came from, once again, like, the childhood musical stuff or things like that. But I think what finally, like, got me to officially do it, like, when I mentioned, like, applying to college, I always and everybody, has their own anxieties and their own self-doubts and stuff like that. Like, when I was going to college, it's always like, "Well, I'm on the back foot here." Like, if I did wanna go to learn how to animate, like, there's people who've already been doing that since they were 10, like, I can't just start this now, so I've kinda had to get out of that mindset, and hopefully, if anybody else is experiencing those, like, "I can't start this now," like, gotta power through that, and it's really hard to do that with self-comparison and stuff like that. And then I also had to get past this bubble of, like, I do wanna create a cartoon or a show or whatever, but I don't storyboard, I don't character design because there are amazing, we all have so many examples of these wonderkin, like, amazing people who can voice act and animate and character and, like, and can do their whole thing by, I mean, like, Lauren is a great example, like, not everybody is one of these, Matt Groenings, Craig McCracken's, stuff like that, like, and as I love all those and I'm inspired by all those people, but it took me a second to be like, "How can I create? How can I do?" Like, if I can't, like, yeah, I can obviously start learning how to storyboard and whatnot, like, nothing is stopping me from doing that, but I need to get my idea out. And how do I use the skills, that utility belt that I have to do that? And really it is about like forming a team. So the first show that I kind of did, it like I got to pitch it once to Shadow Machine because I was there at the time. So like I will always like admire that like privilege that I could do that. But I made this like little superhero-y show, and I had people from class, using that kind of, didn't know what it was called, but I was like, how do help me? This is the vision. And I did start to realize, and especially now that I'm like way further in my career, I do like writing. So that kind of became like, oh, this is the sector that I can hold on to, and I enjoy diving into scripts now and writing them and stuff like that. But at that time, it's kind of like rallying people together. We made like, I wouldn't even call it a pitch deck. We made whatever pamphlet weird thing of like, this is the story and the synopsis. Cause I had never had an example of like, oh, well, this is how Adventure Time was pitched, or this is how SpongeBob was pitched. I was just kind of like, all right, well, we have to tell the story somehow. Pitched it to Shadow Machine, which was very nice. And I'm not trying to dumb down that experience because it was really valuable to me. And I went in there with my friend who was like producing the show and stuff like that. And we were like 18, so like it was like a really great time, and we did it. And I got the best advice from I think the guy who runs or whatnot. Oh, let me put in my charger. I was like, what is that notification? Was He was like, hey, this is really great. The art that you got for it is really good. How big of a superhero fan are you? And I'm like, oh, I like superheroes, and I like the story, and I've seen some, this was kind of like not fully into the Marvel era either. So I was like, yeah, I've seen some, that stuff and things like that. And they're like, that's cool and great. And you don't need to be, you don't need to spend 20 years researching the topic that you're on. Like we'd have no media, right? If people weren't writing and learning about new things. But they were telling me like the best advice was write what you know, like what you really want to put out, what you're really inspired by. And that's what led to Battle of the Bands, is finally like put the little superhero one on the shelf, as so we all have to do with projects at some time. Like put it on the shelf. It wasn't sad. It was just like, I think he's right. I think he's right. Like, what do I know really well and can like be exploded in other ways? And Battle of the Bands literally came from a like, well, I love music. I love rock and roll. Like that was the time I was like getting to know metal bands, like personally, like going to shows and meeting them. And I started to meet a lot of Swedish metal bands. Oh, I wonder why I'm over here. But like, like really fall in love with heavy metal. I was like, well, I love bands of all different genres, like rock, country, pop, and I love Pokémon. And that literally was like the incentive of like, well, what if bands kind of in that avatar-y, everybody wants to make the next Avatar, but like in that kind of sense of like, what if bands are like battling it out? And that pitch, I mean, has been going on for so long. And that, spoiler alert for anybody making something, especially nowadays, takes a long time. There are people who will pitch and they'll get it on the first try. Just like people apply to, Marv was talking about jobs. Like there are people that apply to the job and they get through the interviews and they get it the first try. Amazing. Doesn't happen all the time. Definitely. And especially, yeah, hopefully I'm not bringing up, like, I understand. But, like,
Yeah.
with pitching, for sure, there's so many factors. It depends on, like, what time of the day you're talking to someone, what day they're having, what number email are you in their inbox.
Mhm.
Are they looking for that type of show? Like, you don't know. They could only be looking for sci-fi shows, and you come in with your, like, medieval fan. Like, there's so many factors. The thing that I've learned over Battle, because this year we changed the name. It's now called the Deathwish Tour. It's now anime, because I grew up loving a game series that nobody knows of, but maybe people will. The Tales of series. I love Tales of Symphonia, Tales of the Abyss, kind of like the sister to Final Fantasy. But so I was
Mm.
like, finally, just one of those things of like, well, I should do what I want to do. Because when you start to pitch, you start to hear a lot of other opinions where, like, I've been told for Battle, like, oh, well, if you made it like younger and it's more of like the garage band kind of show. And
Mm.
I was like, yeah, but we've seen that before, and then other
Mm.
people like being like, oh, well, this is basically just Scott Pilgrim. And I'm like, well, it's not. By the way,
Really
I love
different.
Pilgrim. And the anime is gorgeous. I love it. So like,
Mhm.
finally took, like, and then, it's gonna pain me to say out loud, but it's kind of like a powerful moment where it's like, it's taken, like, 7 years, 8 years to get to where it is now, and I think to some people, it's like, "Oh my god, how could you keep going?" Not in a bad way, but, like, "Aren't you
Yeah.
exhausted? Aren't you gonna put that one on the shelf?" And I think when something means as enough to you, like, for me, like, and I think, like, all of us creatives, like-minded creatives, it's like, I'm not making Battle Band's Deathwish Tour to get money, like, no, like, that's not the case, but I need to do it. So that's been the journey with that one, and now, I'm sitting here in Sweden, and honestly, it's a big part of, like, the reason I'm here is because of Battle of the Bands and Deathwish Tour. The musicians I know, like, I'm friends with someone in AFI now, like, we've talked to, crazy musicians and bands that, like, I love, like, we've tried to hit over at the I was posting yesterday about, Ozzy Osbourne, rest in peace, like, we've tried to talk to them before, haven't gotten a response. I gotten a response from Dolly Parton's manager once,
Oh, wow.
so, like, these connections and, one of the first bands we signed on to Battle of the Bands is a band from Sweden. I found them on Spotify one day and just emailed them. I've seen them live now a couple of times, and we're all
That's
friends,
awesome.
and we go hang out and drink, so, like, that kinda stuff is really powerful and means a lot to me. So that's my show, but to further just, like, answer and wrap up, what I fell in love with is that type of producing. So, what I do at work and what I've done production-wise in the past, you climb up the ladder, right? Like PA, coordinator, supervisor, manager, line producer, and right now I'm a line producer. It's all production management. So it's like day to day, you're hired onto a project. You don't decide the project. You're not, in charge of it getting off the ground. You're there to make sure it delivers and runs and stuff like that. But I very much so do love the little, like, tier slash to the side of that, which is producing, and I know that's really confusing, but producing is getting into that world that once again, when I mentioned earlier, when you watch a TV show and you see, like, 8 million names up front, you're like, "Who are these people?" They're people who are, like, getting finance, attaching maybe some of the actors, like, "Oh, Ryan Reynolds is on here because this producer reached out to," like, that kind of, like, it's not really like, I mean, it is team building, but it's like, it's that upper level where it's like somebody hands you a script, and this is kind of what I do nowadays because 'cause I'm currently producing a film, a children's TV show in Australia. I just signed on to another project, last week that I really like. I'm being very vague because I can't talk about these things, but
Yeah, yeah.
creators do come to me. This is also, please do not send me stuff unsolicited, but, like, people do come to me in my network. Um, and, I have to be mindful of my own time capacity, because as I've mentioned, how do you balance all of this? Well, I have to say no to a lot of things, even though I am a yes
Yeah.
person. But I'm now at this point, and I feel very privileged where it's like, if I see something, I really like it, and I see how passionate the person is, and I see their, like, Battle of the Bands, Death Wish, like, "Hey, I'm gonna make this no matter what, but I could use your help." That's the stuff that in the future, if you were to ask me, like, where I wanna go, I love being day to day on projects, and it's so fun, but I love being able to, like, teach people now that I've been in Europe about, like, "Hey, we could get a tax credit from Ireland, or we could use a tax credit from Greece, or I know these studios, if you wanna pitch it to them and we can attach them," which might open up a better shot at going to Cartoon Network or going to Netflix or something like that. So, like, that's the kind of producing, and I love emailing actors and agents for no reason. I actually
Yeah.
say this, I'm emailing Limp Bizkit today, so will
That's
they?
cool.
Probably not. I love how that had a motif though throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her bringing up Woodstock or with the train wrecks, me bringing up the Woodstock '99, but that kind of stuff, like, it's a lot of pro bono.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I believe in this. I'm not doing it to just get a check up front because that's not how producing works, but that's where the spirit is of, like, I would love to help these creators, like this director that I'm working with this film on. Uh, I wanna see that shine and get going, so then, yeah, for the roof over my head and the cat food and the cat bowls, so I can keep doing it for other people. So as much as I want to produce my own stuff, I really like championing other people's stuff. And then I tweet when I can, and it's work.
You have a life somewhere along the sidelines.
Yeah, it's
Championing other people, I like that phrase. I'm probably gonna steal that too, because that's why I
yeah.
produce. I wanna champion other people and their projects. It's so fun.
Yeah, and it feels like, I mean, like, for anybody who does follow me on social media, clearly, like, I post a lot, and I like posting and sharing funny things or music things or animation things, but, like, I I've gotten rid of the thing in my brain where I'm like, "Am I being annoying?" I'm like, "No," but it is a lot more. It does feel really good when you can just spam post about another person's thing. That genuinely makes you like, "I'm gonna yell about this person's film," and, like, I directed an ad at Brick, the Swedish studio that I've been posting about on LinkedIn, but it's not like, "Ooh, look at this thing that I did." I'm like, "Look at these backgrounds that Ashley and Camille and Daniel did." Like, oh, those posts are I will gush to the cows come home about other people's
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, I love doing that. Like, a lot of the music videos I worked on are coming out now, and I just like to make a post like, "Oh, Mario did the characters, and Barbosa did the models, and, like, Kyle did such a good job on the set, and she has an amazing concept." I just wanna credit everyone's amazing work because 'cause I'm just so
Right.
proud and in awe. Fun. Good times. Well, we're wrapping up because 'cause we're already over an hour. Could talk
Oh,
for
sorry.
No worries.
I should have warned you. I will talk until someone, like, gets the Looney Tune cane and it's like, "Stop."
Yes, we just wanna be respectful of your time because 'cause you're very busy. So, we'll wrap up with, do you have any final words of advice for people who wanna work in production or even music?
Oh, yeah. Man, if you wanna work in production, what are my usual go-tos? I mean, I can make it a little broad because 'cause I'm sure people who wanna work in production or, of course, like, people who either are graduating, they're shifting careers, like, oh, there's all sorts of people right now in the pool that are trying to get jobs, and as we've already established, amongst the 3 of us and Marv in a different industry, it it's hard out there. Just generically getting a job in 2025 is hard. Animation, games, tech, I don't wanna speak for social work, but I'm assuming, anything, the medical field. Here's my advice, though, how I've gotten jobs, and, uh, especially when I was trying to leave LA and go abroad, so if anybody, I'm not like, "Everyone leave," but if that is of interest to you, when you are using the tools, whether you can physically go to a festival or a college event or something like that, I'm not trying to advocate for LinkedIn. I've no nothing to gain from them. I'm not sponsored by them, but I do like LinkedIn just because it does make things more accessible. Like, I lived in LA for 10 years, so yeah, I'm around the cosmos of other people, but if you're in Arkansas or Washington or Spain, or well, Spain has a ton of animation stuff, but, like, just somewhere that isn't one of the hot spots, you might feel really left out and like, well, I do want to go to LA or I do want to go to one of these places. Use LinkedIn, and you might be thinking, like, Allissoon, I'm already like trying to connect. Like, I'm a storyboard art. I want to be a storyboard artist or a visionist. And I'm trying to connect with, people, and I see these job postings. Like, you might even see something for like Disney or something like that. And you're right, you send your resume into that portal, I don't know
Good.
if is gonna see it, because especially when you're trying to get into it, and that was really the core of Melissa's question that's making me give you this advice, is, like, when you're trying to get in, it's a numbers game, and that's not me trying to be mean, but there are more people applying to PA than people applying to what I would apply to, like a line producer kind of a position, so you gotta be smart, so I would use LinkedIn, and if you see at maybe some of these more bigger places, a position, it's good to connect with, like other storyboard artists and other animators. I'm not telling you to talk to those people, but they're not the ones hiring. So you got to be kind of mindful of like who is starting the hiring process. And there are people, especially if you are going for the bigger places or if you see something there are people at studios that either are called like talent acquisition, recruitment. These are some keywords for you. Talent acquisition, recruitment, sometimes HR, and their job is to receive messages. That's why you can see on their LinkedIn, like a lot of them have a ton of connections. That is a great networking step, is to politely send. And I would advise you, my favorite kind of phrasing is like, hey, Sally, I saw this position, maybe the one that you applied to. I really wanted to learn more about it. Is there anybody that I could possibly talk to? Like that kind of phrasing where it's open-ended, you leave it in their court, you're going to get ignored. You're absolutely going to get ignored. But once again, those types of people, they get those messages all the time. It never hurts to be polite, send that through. I did that. So the company I worked for when I got to the UK, just because it was easier to get a visa, and we don't need to talk about visas, but it was a game company, and it was Ubisoft. And I hit up probably every Ubisoft, I'm so sorry, Ubisoft recruiters. I hit up probably every single one of them and did that message and was, like, I bet none of these people are gonna respond. But eventually, I got somebody who was like, it wasn't even a UK person, it was just like a, "Hey, Allissoon, thanks for sending over your message. I'm actually not a part of that office, but I think I can pass you along to." She didn't have to do that, and it's just like the more, irons in the fire like that will put you ahead of that job portal that you're tossing your resume into. So I've gotten
Yeah.
jobs that way. You always have to be polite, and if people say no, you walk away. That's the one thing. People have their boundaries, can't push that. Honestly, it's worse for you if you do, but there's no harm in being polite, being curious, and trying to form those connections. I wouldn't be in Sweden as well without that. So it's really beneficial. Don't just bank on, "Oh, I sent my resume to Cartoon Network to be a PA. I hope I email back." Probably not gonna happen, and unfortunately, it sucks that we all have to do this kinda extra legwork, but that's gonna give you a better shot.
Yeah. Ubisoft famously is very small indie studio.
So smart.
So tiny. Nobody knows who they are. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they once again, like, have a lot of recruiters, so I was like, there's the ones that were in England, 'cause that's kind of where I was focusing on going, but, like, I wanna say the lady who got back to me was one of the Canadian ones, so it's like, the bigger places you're gonna find way, and the same thing for, like, DreamWorks. Disney has a ton of talent acquisition people, stuff like that.
Totally.
And when it comes to smaller studios, honestly, like, it's a good point to just, like, bring up, though, at the end of this, Marv, is like, when I went to Sweden for the first time from England, to see my band friends and whatnot, and I was like, "Oh, I love," 'cause the flight from England to Stockholm was way cheaper. I've never been when I was in LA to Sweden, I'd never been 'cause it's so expensive, but I popped over, which is so, I know, privileged for me to say it since I live out here in Europe. I just popped over to Sweden, but I had such a good time. I literally looked up every studio in Sweden on the plane. I was like, and there's not a lot, and that's not me being mean, but, it's not like the 8,000,000 that are in LA. They're small. There's a good handful of small studios in Sweden. I just info at, what, brick.com or whatever it was, and I did that for all of them, like, "Hey, I'm Allissoon, I really wanna move to Sweden," expecting no replies, and then Brick did get back to me. But those are, to your point, smaller studios. So smaller studios, like, they will see your email 'cause you're,
Yeah.
they're not getting the flood that the Disney PA, the Pixar PA position is getting. But yeah,
Mm.
it's all about reaching out. All they can do is say no, and when they do, move on.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nothing has
I
physically
know.
changed if they just say no.
Mhm.
Yeah, pretty much. And I know some people are very scared of writing an email, and that's fair. It's a valid fear. Emails can be very intimidating, but no harm in writing it and sending it. Like we've been saying, the worst step someone can do is say no.
The worst is that they can say no, and then the thing that's the worst for you is if you don't try, you never
Mhm.
know.
Yeah.
Exactly. I've learned to send a lot more cold call emails through this
Yeah.
podcast because then I try to guess. It's just like, hello. But the amount of people who have responded have been really overwhelming and very kind. So it's fun. Write an
And
email.
then you get somebody that you cold emailed and then disappears off the planet for, like, 2 months, and then you have to well, so I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's Never a problem. Take your time. Well, this has been so fun, and I'm so grateful that you spent this time with us. It's been so fun getting to know you. You're so
Yeah.
awesome. Do you have anything to plug?
Cool stuff from Glitch is always coming out. I do not want to say something wrong and break an NDA, but you can go on their social media where they're announcing stuff. But they always have really cool stuff, really cool merch. Yeah, I'm working on that film, so hopefully one day I'll be able to talk about that. And yeah, I'm gonna go email Limp Bizkit, and I just Pikmin 3, and it's going
Oh,
good. That's my plugs for right now.
It's
we
awesome.
play Pikmin Bloom on the phone, and it's a great time.
Yeah.
There's a Pikmin on the phone?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's like for walking and you plant little flowers. It's a great time.
It is
I
a great
love
time.
If you do end up playing, add us. We can add you to our walking group.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Get the step.
I love how the things I've learned through this podcast is that Central Park is no longer, and then there's a Pikmin on
There's
the
a
phone.
mobile Pikmin game.
What an emotional journey I'm gonna go on.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. And do you have any final questions for us? Are you feeling good?
Yeah, you know what? Will ask a question because you stumped me a second ago. That sounds so angry. What is your current favorite band or artist? We'll end it on a music note. And I say current because when people are like, "What's your favorite?" It's like,
That's a good
no.
question. Honestly, the first thing I thought of was Huntrix, which is not a real band, but they're from the movie K-pop Demon Hunter.
Okay. I was like, that sounds so familiar. But yeah.
I really like that. But I also love Beach Bunny. She's like one of my favorites, and she released a new album, and I've been listening to it all the time. Aside from Huntrix.
Yeah. Right now, I'm really feeling Bombing Tiger, a Korean hip hop group, indie, very like fusion elements. It's really cool.
That's so like because I will watch it by the time this podcast comes out. I will have seen K-pop Hunters. I probably said the title wrong already, but it's fine. So you guys both like K-pop or K-hip hop or stuff like that.
I feel like Marv likes. I think I always thought Marv had the most interesting music taste. They'll mention something, I'm like, I've literally never heard of that, but I'm happy for you. So
You've
there's,
listened
I
to
feel like,
Bombing Tiger before.
but I wouldn't know. You just put it on and I accept, and it's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like I definitely have liked pop more recently. Like for a long time, it was just alt rock because that was edgy, and pop is for the lame kids. I don't know, but now I'm like unabashedly loving pop, and K-pop
Yeah.
Demon Hunters really opened the world of K-pop, and so
Yay!
what I'm listening to.
Cool. Now I have a mobile game to get. I got some artists to listen to. Heck yeah.
Yeah, Beach Bunny's great. She's like so it's her, the Beach Bunny's the name of her group, but she's just like the singer-songwriter, and her
Oh,
songs are so fun. Like good. It's very alt rock meets pop in my mind.
oh, cool. No, I'm excited for Bombing Tiger, Beach Bunny. Hell yeah.
Yeah. I really wanted to ask you, what Pokemon do you see as yourself? Like not your favorite Pokemon, but which Pokemon are you?
Oh, wow. Because I have an answer for favorite Pokemon, but to precisely answer your question, and I won't even give logic, I'll let the viewers and listeners, Raichu.
Right. Okay, yeah, the evolution of Pikachu. That's good. I'm a Skitty, but I love Mimikyu. My cat's name is Mimikyu, so this is my life now.
I love that. So cute.
So much Mimikyu stuff.
There's a lot. It's not in frame, but there's a lot. I have a basket that's just dedicated to Mimikyu plush. It used to
Okay.
be for blankets. Now it's Mimikyu.
That's good that you like a Pokemon though that like, and I'm not saying it's like Pikachu or Gengar or like one of those, but like there is functionably Mimikyu merch. It's not like you like Onyx or something and you're just like, well,
Desert. Yeah, no, it's actually a problem. I'd prefer if there was less merch,
oh,
because
okay.
then I would give money. Because I spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
Huh.
Marv,
I
what Pokemon are you?
I usually get assigned Snorlax. I don't know a lot about Pokemon, But when I say, like, yeah, I don't know a lot about Pokemon, which one do you think I would be? They're like, Snorlax. 'Cause you're sleepy. And I'm like,
Snorlax is good. Snorlax is like a classic. So I think that's a compliment. And also, as somebody who doesn't sleep, so envious.
Yeah, Marv's a professional napper,
it's true.
so if you ever need advice on sleep, Marv.
Yeah, but yeah, you have
no.
that on your LinkedIn. Like,
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm gonna stop the recording. Thank you so much for talking with us, and I hope you have
Yes.
a good day or
Yes.
night.
it's day. I don't know anymore.
Our conversation with Allissoon. Oh gosh,
That was
what
delightful.
what a perfect 1-year anniversary episode.
Right?
So much knowledge and kindness.
I really resonate with, like, the championing people idea. I feel like that applies greatly to the work that I do. And
Mhm.
as I've been saying this whole time, there's so many overlaps between, like, what producers and what production does, and what
Yeah,
does this over. I think it's awesome.
we both champion the people, so
So true.
that should be our new tagline for the podcast. Not one right way, champion the people.
Yeah. Put that on a little sticker.
Yeah, I need to come up with a new sticker for Lightbox this year. So that could be it.
Yeah.
Accepting ideas for our next sticker in the comments, in the emails. But yeah, I'm excited. This was great. Thank you, Allissoon, so much for yapping with us. I had a great time. Marv, I know you have to go re-emerge the boxes, so have fun moving. So
Thank
fun.
you. Oh, gee.
How are you feeling? Are you nervous? Excited?
I've been having stress dreams about everything breaking.
Yeah.
Like I
It'll
go to
be
pack and there's just broken glass everywhere.
how many glass items do you own?
Not that well, mm, a fair few. Not that many.
The French press I got you, I think, is glass, so
Yes.
that
Double
could be
walled
one.
glass. And then all of my cups, and then all of my mugs, and then
Yeah.
all of my candles, and then my TV isn't glass, but it's probably gonna break too. Like, damn, this is just what my
No.
stress dream has been.
No, everything will arrive intact. And the funny thing is, like, a T-shirt will tear, and that's, like, minimal. That's ideal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, let's say goodbye to our listeners. Thank you so much for listening. Please remember to leave a comment. That really helps. I hear people say if you leave comments, it's really helpful. Leave a positive review. So it's our 1-year birthday, so it'd be really nice if you, like, left a comment as a gift.
Yeah.
Please do. Please leave a review with a little cake and be like, "Happy birthday." And the cover art is done by Les. Thank you, Les. They'll probably also design our next sticker, so keep your eyes peeled for that. And Marv edits the podcast. Thank you all so much for listening. And remember, there's
Not
one
right.
way to move from the US to Europe and start your career there.
There's not one right way to adopt a nickname that's based on the bassoon.
There's not one right way to learn a new instrument every year of your childhood.
There's not one right way to have your first PA job at Interstellar.
Crazy.
Crazy.
And there's not one right way to be a fan of this podcast. Thank you so much for a year. Bye,
Yes.
everyone.
Bye.